everybody. Adele here, and I am so excited. Everybody, get your butt in here, be here or be square, because I have the incredible privilege and honor to interview Cornell Bunting. He is an author, he is a motivational speaker, and you will not believe his life story. So, welcome to the show, Cornell. Yay!
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So there's so much to cover, Cornell, and I don't want to take up your entire day. But for those of you who don't know you, I'm going to read your official bio.
Yes.
Because, I'm kind of like, I wouldn't have believed it but of course, life. So this is a dude. I want to hear more about. You were framed.
Yes.
For a crime you did not commit. And
yes.
thrown in maximum security prison or something like that.
Jail, yes.
Facing 30-some years for conspiracy. Can you just tell me all the stuff they threw at you?
So it was 16 felony charges, 8 under conspiracy, 8 under solicitation, which led up to me facing 32 years to life in prison.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Wow. And, I was like, how did you get out? It sounds like there was a defining moment, which I want to hear more about as we interview. I want you, because you're a writer from the time you were a kid, the power of the pen has saved you. And now you are saving others through your book. So he got out of maximum security prison on a trumped up charge, cleared his name. You had to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to clear your name. You're the father of 4 boys.
Yes.
And since this, then you died for 16 minutes. I'm like, oh my God, you came back to life. And oh, by the way, you wrote 4 books while you were locked up in prison, and you've written maybe how many more since then?
Like 42.
Oh my gosh. So, and some of them are bestsellers. There's one in particular. You have some children's books, and you have the latest and greatest called Escaping the Darkness Using Adversity to Find Purpose. And when I saw that title, I'm like, oh my God, who better to give the world some soul food? So if you're out there in perhaps a dark place, maybe you're not physically locked up. But I'm telling you, a lot of people, you don't have to be physically locked up to be in a prison.
To be locked up,
Right. Yeah. So listen to this man. You've also written some children's books.
Yes.
You are working, your ministry is reaching people all over. Yes. And let's see, from what I understand, you were born in Jamaica. Then you went to Bristol, England. Was that where all the stuff happened, where you got locked up, or was that here back in Florida?
This was here in Florida, yes.
Oh, courtesy of the USA. Okay, so, well, I'm just gonna it's too amazing to me. And at the end of the day, I want to hear what is driving you at this point. I mean, your life story is pretty amazing. How did you get to where you are? Maybe if you could take us, it sounds like you grew up in Jamaica eating sometimes not a whole lot. There wasn't much. I had a mango for breakfast today.
Yeah.
And you talk about how you had to eat the peels of mangoes.
Oh yeah. There was days when we didn't have dinner, and me and my brother, we would go on the street and look for mango peels, because when people are eating mangoes, they'll peel the mango, they'll throw away the skin. That's what we would look for to eat.
Wow.
It was that rough.
It was that rough. Humble beginnings. And I know your life has been very up and down.
Yes.
Can you share a little bit about just your background of sometimes there was a lot of material stuff, and sometimes there was absolutely nothing and everything in between?
So, we had a lot of things when we were much younger. When my dad and my mom was still married, everything was going well. We had bicycles, we had anything you can think of a kid need to just make their little life comfortable, we had it. And what we did, we would share it with the community. We would share it with the kids in the community. A lot of kids didn't have a bicycle, so my little hustler mind pulled me into this space where I would charge them 20 cents for a bike ride. And everyone was okay with that because it was affordable. And so everyone got a chance to take a ride on my BMX bike. That was a lot of fun. When the craziness started was when my mom and my dad decided to go separate ways, and my dad decided to sell the house with us still living in it. We had to move out in 2 weeks because the new owners came and told us, hey, you guys have to go. So we had nowhere, I mean, my mom was gonna get a one bedroom, I don't even know if I could call it a 1 bedroom. It was like a 1 room with the kitchen, everything is in the 1 room, and so, it's like we went from 100 to 0. It was brutal. Yeah.
And where were you you had siblings, so where were you in the birth
I'm the
order?
oldest. I'm the oldest. Yeah. I'm the oldest, delegator, I used to delegate a lot. We had a guy that lived 3 houses down from us. He had a plum tree. And I would delegate kids while I'm watching to go steal plums from this guy's tree so we can have for lunch.
Oh, goodness.
So, a lot of the times it was all fun, but we had to survive. We had to figure out how to survive. And so we did that, we figured out how to survive, and we survived it. And one thing in my head, I was like, once I'm done with school and I'm able to get out in the work world, my goal is to not be back in this type of poverty. Because, the toilet was outside. We had a kid fell in the toilet, in that outside toilet. So there was the risk of whatever, what that looked like, and so for me, I was really motivated to get to that level in my life where I didn't have to repeat a lot of those things that was really traumatizing, it was rough.
Yeah. There's one thing to not have a lot of material things as a child.
Right.
There's another to feel poor. And some people have both, and some people have a lot and still feel poor. So and I was reading about, for those of you who don't know, I mean, Cornell grew up in Jamaica, and then you moved to Bristol. How old were you? Because your parents separated, and your mom had to live with her sister or something.
So my grandma couldn't keep all of us. So my mom's sister said, hey, I'll take care of him. And, so I went to Bristol, and that was beautiful. But, I still think of my brothers and sister and just wanted to reunite with them. But I've met people in that time where, like, I saw things, like I saw this guy, he had all these Mercedes, and I was like, I want to have Mercedes when I grow up, and I was getting in that mindset, So for me, once my mom had some stability, I, went back with her, finished high school. I was a teacher. I liked it for maybe the first 3 months, and then I didn't like it. So my friends, they said, hey man, there's this resort, they're looking for bellmen, and we know with your smile, your personality, you do great there. And, I went to the interview, and I was just excited to have the opportunity to get an interview at a resort at the caliber that resort was at, and the level of 5-star that it was, and I was like, in my head, I'm thinking I already got the job. So I'm smiling. And the lady that was interviewing me was so impressed with my smile. We barely had an interview. She was like, what is your size? And I told her my size. She said, when can you start working? I was like, right now. She said, okay, you start training today. I start training the very day I went there for the interview. So it was beautiful. And I tell you,
you know, sometimes all it takes is just an opportunity, just the
that's it.
exposure
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
you know, and to be given that opportunity to see something new,
Yes.
learn something more about yourself. And yeah, maybe you're exposed to big stuff. And you know, I was very struck by the extremes of your story.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
everything from eating mangoes or mango
Yeah.
peels, not even the whole mango, in Jamaica, living in a nice house, and then boom, you have to move, and then being exposed to big money, from what I understand. I mean, like
Yes.
lots of money, and
Oh yeah.
perhaps not always in the most, how do you say, you know, it
Notable way, yeah, yes.
how did that impact you as a young man? I mean, was that seductive in some way?
You know, I would say it was somewhat seductive in a way, because, you know, when you have, and, you know, people say, you know, it's not all about money, but money do make things happen.
Sure.
Money do put you in spaces that if you don't have money, you would definitely need someone that really have a liking to you, that wants to show you some kindness. That's the only other way, you know, but I know that the universe have a way to put you in spaces, and whatever that looks like, whatever that journey or that lesson that you're supposed to take from the detail in that situation, I understand how the universe works when it comes to that. So for me, you know, it's really understanding what this looked like when I had it. How did I manage it? What did I do? You know, was I just having fun? And, you know, I feel like a lot of that time in them spaces, I didn't necessarily know what my why was. And because I didn't really know what my why was, I just wanted to have fun. I just wanted to, you know, be okay with the people around me. Didn't necessarily care that they weren't there for me, that they weren't really genuine. You know, I was just having fun, you know, and I had all these people, I had their attention, and they were around me, and, you know, we were having fun. And I think for me, that kind of just put this veil over my eye that kind of put me in a space to not really tap into what my purpose was.
Say more on that. This is half of the name of your new book. Yeah.
So it was one of those things where, so when I got into hospitality, I was fascinated with just meeting new people every day and what that looked like, their stories. How could I make their experience unforgettable or possibly extraordinary? You know, something that as memorable as they can come back and say, where is Cornell? Like, you know, how can I have it? So for me, like I wanted to challenge my mind and say, okay, how can I be this guy that someone can meet me in 2 minutes? And that's all they get with me. But they remember me from just that 2 minutes. Even if they come back a year later, they're like, where's that guy Cornell that we met? You know, and so that was how I had trained myself to really help people understand that I'm welcoming. You know, I don't put judgment on no one. Like, you know, I'm showing you love, everything. I'm smothering you with love and everything. And I want you to understand I am here to help you experience something extraordinary, you know, whatever that looks like, until you say otherwise, you know. And so this was like the mind frame I was in, and money was just coming in from everywhere. I had all these different opportunities that was happening, and I was taking it in. But at the time, it was about me. It was just about me how much fun I can have here, how much fun I can have with these girls, what that looks like, you know. So it was never really about how can I be more effective to my society or my community, you know. And so the mindset wasn't there yet. And so the universe, I think with the where I was heading, I think the universe was just, you know, having me go along, but also putting little details here and there for me to see. I wasn't paying attention to none of it. And so I had to go the extreme, you know, I had to get to where the universe is like, you know what, I literally have to remove you from society. And then I might get your attention, you know. And so
being locked up is one way to get someone's attention. I mean, I'm just
most definitely.
Wow. I mean, and of course, if you're watching, everybody, this is I'm interviewing Cornell Bunting. He's an amazing author, motivational speaker, and he has had a life of very high highs and very low lows, and come out the other end to be writing amazing messages for people. Your ability to communicate, you're in touch with your humanity. The power of the pen is extraordinary. So you were living life, you weren't thinking too much about anyone else because you were, you know, just were going along. And I'm sure everyone wants to know, how did you get set up and like what happened?
So my security company, I was in the field as well. I wanted to meet different clients, see what they wanted, you know, try not to be as expensive as the other competitors. And so
you
basically
you were the CEO of a security company here in the US, in Florida.
Yes, in Florida.
Okay.
Yes.
You'd come back from England. Okay.
Yes. So here I basically was, you know, I was getting a lot of contracts, and what that was doing, while I'm getting all the contracts and other security companies are not getting it, it was upsetting other competitors. And so what happened, which, you know, I found out way later, they paid one of the guys that worked for my company to undermine my company. And so from there, I had one guy that was working for me that was trying to create some type of case story to kind of make me look like, you know, we were gonna do something. 99 or 98% of, you know, what this story was that got me arrested was fabricated. But the way it was done, the cops, they believed it. And so, you know, and in the same time, I was getting a lot of complaints from other employees like, hey, something is wrong with this guy. You need to evaluate him, see where his head is at. If it's not aligned with what your vision is for this security company, maybe we have to part ways. And so I made that decision to, you know, have that conversation with him, with one of my newest client that I really wanted him at that location, but they didn't want him there. And it was that time when we were going to have this breakfast, we got pulled over. We got pulled over. Next thing you know, we getting arrested. Now we're sitting in jail under all these different crimes that apparently had happened. And I'm lost. You know, I'm there, and I said, you know what? I can't even say nothing because I don't even know what these people are gonna try to use against me. I have no idea what's going on. And so, you know, everything was just so surreal. Like, it was moving so fast. It was like 3 days before my birthday. You know, I was eyeing a Bentley car and I wanted to get it so bad. And I'm like, oh my goodness, none of that is gonna happen now. And so from there, sitting in there, I didn't really realize how real everything was until I went to the first appearance and they start calling out the charges. And I'm like, when I heard the charges, I actually sat back down. And they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I was waiting to hear my whatever I'm charged with. They're like, those are your charges, you know. And I don't know, like stand up because you could be in contempt with court. You know, they're wording how they word that stuff. So that's when I realized it was real. And when they were just reading them off, I was like, my goodness, what is this? And so, you know, the good thing about that, with how they painted a picture on me, tarnished my name, the media had that running for 3 days. It made me look good when I went into jail, because I was going into the felony section of maximum security, where all these guys that are there are normally serving 2 life sentence, 3 life sentence, some serious criminals, you know. And so when I got there, they, in their mind, they're like, yo, here's a dangerous dude, because, you know, he had body bag with him, he had zip ties, because the media said all this stuff. Mind you, we had none of those things. And but they thought that I was a dangerous guy, and so I just used that to my advantage. So I got in there. I didn't get into no conflicts with anyone, and for the first 3 months, I was really bitter. I was bitter. I was angry. I didn't talk, and I just wanted to know what is going on, you know. And so, really, when everything changed, it was this one day. We saw a fly in the cell, like a fly flying around. We got excited. We were so excited about seeing the fly. We want no one to hurt the fly. We were watching the fly, and we're like, there has to be a hole somewhere. And in my head, while I'm thinking, and I'm like, you know, there's hope, Cornell. It's like a voice is saying, there's hope. You're gonna get out of here. I need you to pay attention to what I want to tell you. This is what I need you to understand. And it was literally there, like I calmed down, and like now all I wanted to do was read books. And I was reading, like some days I was reading 2 books in one day. I was just so tuned into the books. But the first book I read that really put me on the path to help me understand what my purpose is was a book by Rick Warren called A Purpose-Driven Life, which was a devotion. And after I read that book, it's like the voices say, now you can start writing, because I already had that skill from high school. I used to write plays, drama. So I had the skill. I just didn't, with everything that had happened after I left high school, I wasn't focused on that. I didn't think nothing could happen from that. Like, you're not gonna be effective as a writer, dude. You know, like, you know, the young mind of a 18-year-old and stuff like that. But, you know, now I'm all grown up. At the time I had 3 boys. I was a single dad, and my boys needed me. You know, every Friday they would come to visit me, and, you know, we would talk on the screen. And it was every time they leave, I was emotional, because my youngest son be like, Dad, when are you coming home? And I don't know what to tell him, because I had no idea when I was gonna leave there. So when that moment happened with the fly and just things just start falling into place for me, it was like I was free. And it was one of those things that just kind of helped me understand the way a lot of the guys behave that are in there. Because for a lot of people can be outside in the world, but are trapped in their mind because there's so many things going on. They're just lost into it, stressed out and all that, don't know how to deal with it. What I realized there, you got guys that are there and they're more happy than people that are out here, because they have understand, you know what, I might have messed up out there, but I have a second chance to really redeem myself for the universe, what that looks like, you know? And so it was beautiful. And for me, I was like, okay, now I need to get writing pads and I just need to start writing. My mind was like a popcorn machine. Things was just going everywhere. And I was like, okay, I need to put these stuff on paper. but I didn't know what I was gonna do when I get out. What I did know, I wouldn't be fighting with them, because one thing I learned, when you see a pig in a pen making noise in the mud, the pig is enjoying its mud. And you decide you want to get irritated with that mud and go in that pen to fight with that pig, to stop that pig. Now both you guys getting muddy. No, you don't like the mud, but guess who's still enjoying the mud? Pig's still enjoying the mud. So I'm like, okay, Cornell, you're not gonna go out there, fight with this system to get back this money and do all these things. You're just gonna focus on this writing. You're gonna focus on telling your story, telling your truth, to help other people understand it's not the end of the world when this happened. You know, all you have to do is acknowledge what message the universe is trying to throw at you. And once you acknowledge that to the universe, I promise you, the universe is going to grant you what you want, but you have to show the universe you want it. And so for me, that was where I was, you know, and so, you know, it just got easy from there. And like maybe 8 months in, it was almost like I knew when I was going to get out.
Uh-huh. This is amazing. And you're absolutely right. There are people who aren't locked up, who are feeling that, you know, that as if they were, and they're desperately, they need to know that there is a fly. You know, if you don't even know there is a fly, you don't even expect to look for one. I mean, imagine something as simple as a fly.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's just so moving, and how that change can happen so simply, so elegantly. And you don't have to climb Mount Everest. You don't have to have had some, you know, it just boom, and something moving you. And so you started to write. I've read that you loved writing as a child, never thought you were going to do anything with it. And these books started coming out even when you were still locked away.
Yes.
And then, you know, tell me about the day that this whole thing got you out. I mean, it's really spectacular.
So, you know, when the day came, so what happened, because we were going to pre-conference trial, we went to 13 pre-conference trial, and the state still couldn't come up with a case. They were still trying to build a case, So I think it was at the 12th pre-conference trial, they start lifting the hold off the bond. Because the reason I was in there for so long, they had a hold on the bond, so I couldn't bond out. It wouldn't allow you because there's hold on the bond. So once the hold were lifted, it brought the value of the bond down to $365,000. And so I had to sell some stuff, come up with 10% of the $365,000 to bond out. But I knew that once I got out, I would need to be working with my attorney to just kind of, you know, help him understand days leading up to that day, why that, you know, could possibly happen, you know, the reason behind it and all that. So we figured it all out. We figured out it was very racial driven, you know, not to get into crazy detail about that, but we understood what we was up against. And we knew that it would take some strategic questioning to where because you can question someone to where they answer a question, but then they want to justify why they answer the question that way. And that was really what got my accuser. That's how he told on himself. He literally answered, it was the same question that was the sixth question. It was just done in a strategic way that would put him in this headspace where, you know, he didn't like the locations that I was putting him. He didn't like that I was Black. He didn't like that I was so young. He didn't like all these different things that he didn't like. And then with him just complaining about all that stuff, my attorney said, how much did they pay you? And he said how much they paid him. And then it was like, it just hit him. Like, bro, you just told on yourself, bro. That was literally how the whole thing demolished. But to take you back to the day I got out, I decided I wanted to surprise my boys. And so what I did, I told my friend, you know, at the time I told her, let me get a big box so they look like they're gonna get a gift. And so I was in the box, you know, because I was so skinny.
Oh
I was
my.
barely eating the food there. The food was terrible.
Oh.
And when I tell you, I probably ate the food there one day of the week, which was the day when we get chicken. Because we only get chicken one day a week. The rest of the days, like you're getting like some type of potato with a bunch of water in it. It's so watery. It's like puree food. And you get like mushed out beans. The food was just terrible. And so I barely eat the food because I had canteen where I was allowed to spend $50 for the week. And I would get a bag of, you know, different chips and, you know, different stuff that you can munch on. That was literally what I lived off in there. But I lost so much weight. I think I might have gotten down to like maybe 198. And so when I got out, I was able to go in this box, and I was in the box, and box was wrapped, had the bow on it, all these things. My son, because, you know, I had my friend video in it while they came in. They were so excited to see the box, you know. They love gifts. So, and they're unwrapping the box, they're pulling everything out, and then they saw me, they're like, Daddy, like it was just crazy. And the way they acted, it just got me so emotional. And I'm like, you know, boys, I am here. I want you boys to know that your dad is here. I am going nowhere. And, you know, I want to show the universe how much I love the responsibility that the universe have given to me, which is my kids, and just show them how they can be the men that society would love to have them add in value, you know? And so that day it was beautiful, emotional day. But from there, I was now spending more time with them.
So was your why starting to come in at that point?
Yes.
I imagine, my goodness, how could it not?
Yes.
And then of course, you know, you're out and these trumped up charges have gone away. You're a free person with your boys again. And then the universe still throws you something. I'm like, what, you know, like.
So, and it's crazy because so what happened? So finally, I decided to put out Lion with No Roar, which was
that's a children's book, right? That was your
first children's book.
Was that one your first children's book, or?
That's the very first book.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so it's children's book, very first book. That book, because I'm Leo, you know, I was born in July 31st. I wanted to highlight the lion in me, but the lion in me didn't have a voice. I didn't have a voice because my voice was taken away, and I wasn't one of those individuals that had a huge platform where I can use my platform to be a voice. I didn't have that. So what I wanted to shed light with this children's story was about this lion cub that was born to this older lion couple that was, you know, king and queen to a kingdom. But because of their old age, he had this deformness where he wouldn't have a voice. He would need to travel through life, understand his purpose, and then once he understands his purpose, he would get his voice. He would get his roar.
You know, I saw the trailer for that, and I'm struck by how voice is an important part of a lot of people's purpose. I mean, people think of purpose as, I don't know, I'm going to be an astronaut or whatever, but the ability to show up and say exactly who you are and use your voice, that's pretty powerful. And
it is very powerful.
You know, and it's until it's taken away or you didn't even know you had a voice. And then one day the lion starts roaring. That's a pretty huge day. You know, I haven't read your children's book, but in your life, was there a defining moment where you started to roar?
Yes. Yes. And so, so when Lion with No Roar came out, it was about 2 months Lion with No Roar came out. And there was I think I was starting to see possibilities of things happening, you know, and because I had finished the case, they had expunged my record, what those charges were and all that stuff. And I went to church with the family, and we were in church, and we had this pastor came, Peter Haas. He came to preach, and very funny guy. And they thought I fell out of my seat laughing. And when I was on the ground, they noticed I wasn't moving. So, of course, they came over me, all that stuff. They realized that I died. I was gone.
Do you remember that happening to you?
Yeah, so what I was actually looking at my body. I was standing, looking at me on the ground, looking at these people trying to, pump my chest with a machine to bring me back.
Did you feel off before that moment, or?
So I didn't feel off before that moment. What happened? So when that was happening, I was trying to rush to my body. Actually, I rushed to my body to say, hey, I'm okay, I'm fine, because I was wearing these pants that I was really fascinated with the pants too, man. They were like, really close fit on me and all this. And I knew the way they were looking looked like these people were gonna damage the pants. So I was like, hey, I'm fine. But I fell through my body. Wow. I fell through my body, everything. And I was trying to grip my body. I couldn't grip my body. And I was getting irritated. But then by the time I was trying to, figure that out, how to, maybe get to my body, I was in a room with a table, paper on the table, had a distorted face person, like how my hands are moving right now. That's how the guy's face was the whole time.
Did they ever determine what happened to you from a scientific or medical perspective?
They call it cardiac arrhythmia.
Oh, okay.
So I guess I wasn't giving my body enough rest. My heart just decided to go off track and just stop working.
And it stopped for 16 minutes.
16 minutes. They were getting ready to come out with the body bag to put me in a body bag. The pastor, Matt Keller, he said, no, we're not letting him leave here in the body bag today. They could put him on the stretcher, all that stuff. And that was around the 15-minute mark. And then, when they came in, about to come in, the guys, with the stretcher and stuff, they just heard me just come back to my body, just let out this crazy roar. And yeah, they took me to the hospital, of course, did operation. So now I have a defibrillator in my chest, that just kind of monitor me to not do too much, don't go the extreme, Cornell, calm down. So, that was what, but that was when that happened and I came back. After everything was done at the hospital, because I was already doing a few things with this book. Some opportunities was arising to travel. And it wasn't, I think it was when I was in the UK, I was in Elephant and Castle. And I was talking in, I don't want to say maybe 180 kids or so. And just the questions these kids were asking me and I was answering them. And they were really excited. Like when I tell you these kids were excited, I don't think any kid left out of there without an autograph. I remember kids were saying, I'm not gonna wash my hand if you sign your autograph in my hand. It was beautiful. And it was like the voice was saying, this is where I need you to be.
This is where you're going.
Yeah.
This is where you're going.
Yes.
Oh, it's yeah. I'm excited listening because, when it's true, everyone can feel it, and it's such an exciting thing. And so you've gone ahead and written a couple others. Some of them were kids' books, some of them were adult books. You had one, There was one right before the latest, escaping the
Escaping a life sentence.
life sentence. Is that one where you're recounting all this other stuff? And
Yes. So escaping a life sentence talked about when I died and when I was in jail for 10 months.
how the audience is going to want to know,
Yeah.
how did you lose your bitterness? How did you not come out hardened, full of hate and anger? Was it a process? Was it just the fly? Did you have to do practices? Did you have to see a therapist? Everybody wants to know, because you don't have to be locked away to have those feelings.
No, it was from the different books I was reading.
Okay.
It was gathering information and basically listening as well to what was. So in my quiet time where I'm meditating, I'm listening to this, and I call it the light that had found me and was speaking to me. And it was how it was laying out things to me, like, because if I put energy here, I'm not going to be able to have energy where I need to have the energy, and so it was really helping me understand the defining moments, the moments where this is what you're going to be doing. So you need to put energy into this, because if you put energy into this, it's going to take away from that.
I love that. And sometimes I secretly wonder if sometimes me, myself, and I, if I'm not suffering enough, I can still stay there. But there comes a point where you have to, like, if you're hit, if it goes to a place where nothing could be worse, there is a certain surrender. And maybe some of us just haven't had it bad enough yet. We're still carrying this stuff around. And so we can learn from someone when you've had everything taken away, your freedom, your access to your children, your business, hundreds of thousands of dollars, your reputation, all these things. What else do you have left to, there's a sense of, and then their freedom comes, and people read about this, but it's the experience that
it is.
You can't talk about it. You have to just go there, and
you have to. There comes a point in everyone's life where they have to take a break on whatever is going on, whatever is spinning around them, because we're in a world now, we have a paradigm shift now, and we're in a world now where marketing is huge, where everyone that's marketing want to capture someone somehow on something. And so you're always getting pulled in all these different directions. But the moment you show the universe, okay, I don't care about none of that. I want to know, why am I here? What is my why? What is the reason I'm here for? What am I supposed to be contributing? Because we're all here for a reason. Every single one of us is here for a reason. We just have to acknowledge that, and there was one point where I was talking to some youths, and I think it was North London, and I was asking them, where would they consider the richest place on earth? And they were, throwing all these different places out, Moscow, Hollywood, all these different places. And then I say, if I was to say the graveyard, what would you guys say? And they're like, what? That don't even make sense. And I'm like, bro, if you think about it, all those minds that never figure out their purpose, that never, there is so many talents that I've met even in jail. Guys that came back from prison. There's guys that can draw, sing. They can do all kinds of things. What I'm telling you, all these talents. And now you look at them and they're just waste away. And then you have all those talents as well that have made these bad decisions and possibly gotten their life taken away from them. There's just all these different things that just kind of put in perspective, like, because it takes so much patience so the universe wants you to understand patience. It wants you to understand, show me how persistent you can be in this that I'm showing you that I want you to do. Now I want you to believe in yourself. I want you to pursue this. Now, what does that look like? For some people, the patience will get the best of them. And when one thing happens, you get knocked down, some people don't really want to get back up because they don't want to get knocked down again. But you have to get back up.
Yeah, people they want it now. It needs to work the first time or maybe the second. Otherwise, I don't want to bother. No. Or there better be a guarantee. Are you sure about this? I'm not doing this until you tell me. And the way of faith, there is no such thing. How persistent can you be? And we don't honor persistence nearly enough in this culture. Right. Everything is quick and fast. Is a glorified, how fast can you go from zero to $1 million? You know, we love the fast get rich quick fantasy.
But it's not what it is. And the universe, you know, while there's people that's gonna happen for, if at some point and there's people that have gotten that opportunity and that have happened to, but at some point on that journey up, they have acknowledged the details that was being thrown at them. And because they showed the universe that, the universe was able to just, okay, now I give you all this resource to do what you can do to spread this message, whatever that looks like, you know. And for some people, you know, they just want to enjoy what they're enjoying. And then, you know, next thing you know, they crash. Or then you have some people that are on their high peak, and then next thing you hear, suicide was committed. And you're like, what happened? You know?
Right. And I always admire people who have had the full range of very up and very down, and the wisdom that comes out the other end. You know, it's the wisdom that's the most valuable, not how much money you made, or, you know, that's the thing that inspires. It sounds like you're very clear on your why. I mean, it just oozes out of you. I know a lot of people are going to really enjoy this podcast and see themselves in your story. Like, gosh, I'm not even in prison, but I'm in a prison of my own mind. I'm not nearly as persistent as I could be, you know, and I don't know why I'm here. So what would you suggest to people who really have no idea what their why is? Like, I know I'm supposed to be here for, like, because I get asked this a lot. I think we all ask ourselves this flavor of question at some point. If they really have no idea why they're here, where would you suggest they start?
I would suggest they start on relaxing themselves, relaxing the mind, allow those moments to come to you, something that your inner being, your inner self is desiring you to do. And that could be pulling you out of your comfort zone. That could be pulling you out of a 9-to-5 job that you are sure of the money that's coming. But really what you're pulled to do, it wants to put you in a space where you're going to be uncomfortable for a little bit, because a lot of times when our back's against the wall is when our stronger self comes out to help us from that. And I think also,
go ahead.
I would say also is understanding our comfort level, what that looks like, because that's where fear lives. Fear lives in your comfort place, because it don't want you to go into something that's going to make you uncomfortable. That's why I try to not have you do it. And so you have to take that leap and jump, you know. And so whatever that looks like, that calling, your inner self is going to tell you, you know, I need you to be going to feeding these people. I need you to be going to speaking to these people. It's going to tell you.
I need you to write these books and get it out on Amazon and deal with these publisher problems and all this crap, you know, keep going.
It's fine. And that's the thing where I told a lot of people, I said, Cornell, but you're not making a lot of money off these books, so why you keep putting out books? And I'm like, listen, that's going to happen when it happens. Right now, while my popcorn machine is still working, I got to get these messages done, you know, and whether I have a few publishers that's going to take a chunk of my money and I get a small of it, it's okay, because my message is still getting out there. You know, I'm not even concerned about that. I just want my message to get out there What does that look like?
So take us to your latest one, because I'm going to do everything I can to help promote your books, because I just love this. Escaping the Darkness, is this kind of the message behind your latest book?
Yes. So Escaping the Darkness, using adversity to find purpose. The reason this book is out now is because of what Escaping a Life Sentence was doing. It went #1 twice. And I had that momentum going. People are like, well, you know, it's a memoir, Cornell. We understand all these things that happened to you. We understand you had a relationship situation that just kind of put you in a crazy place, and you're trying to think if that was what put you there. But what does this look like for you going through these adversities? And how did you use that to find the purpose?
Yeah, it's kind of like, what now?
Yes.
You know, now that you have this wisdom.
Yes.
And I absolutely love this. Can I play your trailer so people can see? Okay. All right, everybody. I'm going to try to make this work. Okay. So don't get mad if this doesn't work. Share. As Cornell gave me a beautiful, it's a short video. Okay. Share sound. All right. Let me see. Share. And then I get to play this lovely. Here we go. Wow. That's pretty amazing. Tell us a bit about this video. What was your, thoughts behind it?
So I wanted to do something real simple to where, like, I'm not saying a whole lot in the video. I really just want people to understand when you're in different mindsets, like, because here's this mindset where this guy discovered someone that owes him a lot of money. He can just go in there because he's not getting the money and go kill this guy. But you go into this space where someone is there, and it just happened that they're reading the book, Escaping the Darkness, which is a tool. And basically she said, you know what? I've read so much from this. I have enough information. Now I need to pass this information on to this troubled mind brother that's about to do something that could just change his life drastically. So him getting that tool to understand, bro, you can look past this, and so that's really what I wanted to accomplish with that video. Like, say as less as possible action, have the watchers, the viewers look and say, okay, what is going on right now? What is happening? Why did he go there? Why did he do this? So I felt like I did capture what I was trying to capture there.
And I think everyone's been in a situation where you're about to do something stupid, because your state is off, and just take a breath.
Right.
This book can be a tool.
Yes.
A friend, someone there from the grace of God can keep you from just making a mistake. And coming back to yourself. So I am excited to read this book. Where can people get this book?
So people can get this book on my website, cornellbunting.com. They can also find it on Amazon. I know because it's still new, one of the things we're going to be doing here is getting in as much stores as possible. So we're working on that right now. And, we're getting ready to do like a flood all the bookstores in Jamaica. Barnes and Noble already have one of the book. This is the sequel to the one Barnes and Noble have. So we're gonna try to get this one and Barnes and Noble as well. And just wherever I can get it to get into people's hand, because it's a tool. It's 10 chapters that talks about adversity and purpose. And then there's 10 lessons that help individuals to understand just how adversity help you to identify different moving parts that allow you to understand what your purpose look like.
I love that, because I think people sometimes when they're looking for their purpose, it's this abstract thing.
Right.
Your purpose is wrapped up in the thing that's causing you a lot of annoyance that you're moving through. I think people just haven't thought of it that way. They think it's their natural born gift, which it is. Or, God is going to come down and tell you that you're going to be a botanist or something like that. But let's say you struggle with relationships.
Right.
Maybe you've always been socially awkward or anxious. Maybe your purpose is through that adversity of, shyness or social anxiety. Your purpose is to go there and share what has worked for you with others that might be on the same path. Locked in their own prison, looking for the fly.
Right. Yeah, most definitely. And, I always tell people that if J.K. Rowling didn't go through the adversity she was going through and believe in her magical story the way she had wrote it, and not allowing all the different publishers that was telling her that doesn't make no sense, that's not going anywhere. She didn't make none of that get to her, because in her adversity, she had found her purpose, and all she had to do was being persistent.
I love that.
Yeah.
Because that means everyone has a purpose. It's wrapped up with something that you're struggling with.
Yes,
like I said, people tend to think it's that it's something easy and fluffy. And
no. And it's in the troubling times.
Yeah, and oftentimes people with the greatest burden, the greatest pain, have a lot to offer.
Yes.
And in fact, I believe that people whose lives are too easy, if you've never had adversity, it's very difficult to find your purpose. Wouldn't you agree?
Right. Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. I just feel like, so there is individuals that have not gone through a lot of adversity, but are so relaxed with the universe where they have allowed themselves to pay attention to detail. You have to pay attention to detail. It's the only way, because we here to grow. Me at age 50 is way better than me right now at where I'm at. And all I want to do is get to me at age 50. I want some of that knowledge that age 50 have, because that's 50 years of knowledge that I don't have yet. But I have to go through the process. I can't skip the process.
People want a pill.
Right, So it's what it is. You have to go through it. You have to pay attention to detail as you're going through it. It's just like if you're going somewhere, you go into a destination. There's many different paths to get there. You can drive a bunch of different places to get to that, but you have to pay attention, because if you don't, you're going to pass.
What would be an example of a detail? Because for people listening, they're like, okay, what's a detail? What would be an example?
So details is literally, detail come at you like this. Cornell, you can tune out that noise and listen to what your heart is telling you. You have a gift to write. So instead of you trying to run out here and trying to be a security to all these different people, why not tap into what that looks like as a writer? So like, I could see something saying, write a note to yourself. There could be like a sign, so details come at you sometime in numbers, come at you, people trying to talk to you. It could be someone that's homeless. But because I'm looking at that person as a homeless person, I'm not necessarily listening to what that person said, and I'm not trying to take what that person say with any value to it, because I am judging that person, and I'm not going to put any value on what that person is saying to me. But the universe have a way to give the detail to that person for you to take from that person, make sense from what that looks like, put it, you know, connect the dots. And this is how it comes. It comes in crazy ways. You could go to a store and buy something at the store, and the guy says something to you, but because you just hear it and just walk out, you didn't really let it stay with you. You left that detail. You didn't pay attention to that. The
synchronicities.
Yes.
Or, I love that. Yeah, it's the magic of the moment. And it only means no one can tell you, you know, no one can tell you what, only you can make sense of the details. So someone else would say, what does that mean? And you're like, oh my God, I just got a sign, you know, so.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Cornell, this has been awesome. I am so excited with this conversation. I know a lot of people will enjoy it. We could be talking all day, and I know you've got other things to do. So I'm going to be putting your website information about your book in the show notes.
Lovely.
For everybody, repeat your website, Cornell.
Cornellbunting.com.
And the latest book, Escaping the Darkness.
Using adversity to find purpose.
You can just order it online.
Yes.
It's not in the stores yet, but it's online.
Yes, it's online. It will be in the stores soon. So you look out for it.
Awesome. Oh, this has been wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
I feel inspired. So I feel lit. So that's really why I do these. It's because primarily for me, and also because if I'm enjoying it, I think others will too.
Yes.
So
love, and you're awesome.
Oh, thank you. All right. See you next time.